So is there some kind of weaselly, willful misinterpretation of the stats by both the previous government and this government? Are they trying to pull the wool over our eyes?
Absolutely, and indeed, I'm sorry, and the media, that there's a focus on, 0.1% or minus 0.1%. Everyone who's listening to this programme knows that such small figures don't mean anything material. What is material is that our economy is 4 or 5% smaller than it was 5 or 6 years ago, and yet successive governments, both the Labour and the Coalition, have thrown everything that the other taxpayers have got at it. We've got practically zero interest rates. They've thrown massive amounts of money at the banks. They're borrowing £100 billion a year, and yet we're getting no sustainable growth.
Is this because there's a fixation on resale spend, for example? I remember Gordon Brown, when he was Prime Minister, the then Chancellor, actually reduced VAT, for example, to try and kickstart spending. That was the big phrase, the big slogan. Are they looking at it the wrong way then? Should they be looking much more at producing more?
They certainly should. I'll tell you what they're looking at. You mentioned Gordon Brown. Gordon Brown was looking at the 2010 election, and George Osborne and Danny Alexander are looking at the 2015 election. But why would that surprise us? Politicians have done that since ancient Greece. They always look at the next election. There is not sufficient consideration of the long-term structural problems in our society. And you know what the main one is? The level of debt. They've brought in funding for lending. They've brought in Help to Buy. They're extending funding for lending. They're making us borrow even more, and it's the borrowing that got us into the problems in the first place.
Okay, Jonathan,
and
then,
until they do a reverse, we'll never get out of the problem.
Okay, and is it possible, though, to have constantly increasing growth? Is that what you're looking for as an economist? Is that sustainable?
The answer is it's possible, but not government-led. And that's what successive governments have tried to do for decades. It has to come from the private sector, from entrepreneurs. Look, if 1 million small businesses were to take on one new employee, that'd be 1 million off the dole. But you know why they're not doing it? Because they're scared. Because they know when the government's trying to plan the economy, businesses cannot get moving forward.